Gonna look better after it's turned. Hey, I'm Captain Eddie Castellan in the shop. Today, we're going to take a piece of tiger maple that a good friend of mine in Pennsylvania sent down here, and we're going to turn it into a little bit of an art piece. Sort of a useless bowl thing. But doing that, picking the shape and everything else, because I want to make the grain pop, explode on this piece. So, good clean cuts, no tears, no scrapes, just good clean cuts might be the key. And then some really good sanding. And because I don't know how this wood's been aged, I'm probably going to rough it in, shape it up, and wait a day or so, see if it moves a little bit. That'll let me know if it's ready to finish out. I'm going to rough hollow it also on that stage. Take as much of the wood away as I can, so when it does move, it does all the moving, and it helps dry it a little bit. Oh, today's tip, to get this ready, because he gave me a nice half log. I took it over to my bandsaw and I roughed it in. And like most bandsaws, it made a little bit of noise. And it just said it was crying for a little bit of attention. And folks say, well, you know, that happens with bandsaws. Well, here's the deal. When it happens with your bandsaw and it's crying a little bit, it just might be the blade's a little bit dry. What? You don't lube your blade? I don't lube my blade either. What I do is I use the original PAM. See that? I read about this from a fellow in Florida named Itura, who said that this worked really good to lubricate the saw blade. And then I found this $12 a can saw blade lube, and it didn't work any better. So I went back to PAM. That's it, right there. Yeah. So when you want to quiet down your saw, just a little bit of squirt of PAM on it does wonders. And it's also good on your barbecue pit and other things. And hey, you know, if I can learn how to make it grow hair, psh, I'd be home free. Well, that ain't going to happen real soon. What didn't turn gray, turn loose. Alright, I'm going to rough this in a little bit. What I want is a piece that's got a large top on it and then tapers down, because when you're looking at the piece, you're looking down over it. You'll see. I tell you what, I'm going to take a chance that it came out right and show you a picture of it right now. And if it doesn't look like I talked about, then it didn't come out right. But it still came out. And I was still putting shavings on my feet. So, stand by. We're about to turn some wood. Oh, I got to say this. Watch. Now, let's see if a different perspective helps you. I am starting to cut. That's where you get those little micros. Alright? Then as I twist the blade, see how the stick moves, and I start coming down. Now, all my energy is just going straight in on this. I'm not sliding the blade. Look. Cuts being made one-handed. That's one of them freaking hero moves I keep telling you not to do. But I have to explain why. I'm banging the bevel, which means I'm waiting too long to make the cut. So I back off a little bit, twist it a little bit. You see how much I'm shaking right now? Because I'm banging the bevel. I'm going to go back up, get a little bit better cut, and come back on it again. That was the cut. What you heard at the very end is the super glue. It's harder than that wood. It bangs a little bit. Okay. Now I pretty much got this thing shaped to what I want. This is what I was telling you earlier. I want a big flat top on it, where when this is all sanded out, you can see some of the quilting showing up and some of the tiger striping in it is showing up right now. When that's sanded out, it's going to give a gray chatoyance, which means a reflection of the wood, or reflections that appear to be down deep in the wood. Now, what I'm going to do is back this all out, I'm going to take my hole drill, which is really, this is something you should build for you. From the hardware store, I got a deep-reached 3/8 inch bit, just a machine bit. All right, it's nothing magic. I turned the handle out of a piece of, oh boy, that looks like cypress. Put a furring on it, a furrow on it that's a piece of plumbing fitting. I gotta go find those because they're really cool. And some markings, but this is my hole gauge. This is a piece of rubber grommet that I found at the hardware store, and I drilled a hole through it. See that? Now, with that, I can set that as my stop. I'm going to drill down in here until I'm about a ½ an inch away from the bottom. And then I'm going to start working the bottom out. Now, I only want a hole about 1¼ inch round because I don't want to lose the top of this thing a lot. As I said, it'll be an art piece. Hopefully, it'll look good. So, stick with me. We're going to keep going. Okay, every once in a while, when you're hollowing, you're going to get a buildup of shavings in there. And they're going to start catching on your tool and your rod and shavings instead of making cuts. So you need to blow it out. You can take your air compressor and blow a little bit of air in it. But if you don't have an air compressor, you're about as poor as I feel this month, then this will work. It's a piece of 1/4 inch tubing and a piece of 1/4 inch tube. And just the tubing, you keep this clean all the time. Don't do any gas with it. You blow some hot air down in there, and that'll blow the shavings out. Why hot air? I don't know. That's they say I'm full of. I now have it to about a 1/4 inch thickness all the way through. That's a good safe number. Anything less than that, you're doing it for you, not for the client, not for the end user. And you can measure that by bending a piece of 3/16 steel, and you just get the twist on it right to where you can slide it down on the inside and check that. That's a good cheap one. I don't believe in buying those expensive ones But a long time ago, before I learned the basics, I had this big ugly set. You can put it down in there and get it down and see it's a 1/4 inch wall thickness and all that. There's a lot of simple ways to do it. I've got the inside fairly smooth, but that's not going to be important right now. Remember, this is a rough turn. I'm going to take some dimensions. It is now true and round. I'm going to write on here in pencil what the dimensions are, and then later on, a week, 10 days, 3 weeks, whatever, I'm going to chuck it back up again and spin it and see if it went oblong on me. And that's going to give me an idea of what happened to that wall thickness. You see, I was smart. If I made that wall too thin, I couldn't go back and reshape it later. And then after it's moved a little bit, I would go ahead and reshape it. Now, I don't want to do any sanding right now. I don't want to impart any more heat than I did because of the tools. Yes, it's warm because of the tools. I use my little Easy. That's that 3/8 inch bar with that 12mm cutter. I use this, and also use this Swan Neck by Sorby with the multi-tip. And I use this in the last to scrape down on the inside and clean it up and make it slick. I didn't say no sanding. I said no sanding, not making it slick. I've got it like this. I want to take a bag, one of those recycle bags from the grocery store, and I'm going to fill it up with those shavings. And I'm going to put it in there and set it off out the way. Great thing about the bag, you can hang it somewhere. Out of a breeze, in the corner. It's not going to mold because it wasn't that wet. But it's going to dry nice and slow and gentle. And when I pick this back up again, round 2, you'll see that we'll check the trueness. We'll go back and check to make sure it's got a good shape to it. And we'll also go ahead and polish it off. And I mean polish it off. Oh, let me give you one more tip. One more. Here you go. When you're checking to see if the outside of a bowl has got a flat, because a flat will kill it. When you want to see if there's a flat, take a pencil and roll a pencil along on the outside. You can put it between your fingers like this and just roll it. And when you do that, if there's a flat like that one right there, it's going to stick. Curves don't have flats. When you were in grade school, you had that French curve or that arc. All right, that is a always complex changing curve. Very pleasing to the eye. That's what you want here. I've got a flat spot right there. Now, I didn't see it until I started with this. Now, I know it's there. I've got a couple of choices. I'm still thick enough that later on I can take it off on the bottom and make it go away a little bit. And I can just be rubbing the bevel here and pushing it through. And when we pick this one up, we'll do that. But this can tattletale on any flats. It'll find, oh, I got another one up top. It's little, but I didn't want a flat there. I wanted a dome surface. Why not flats? Flats catch light. Light catches your eye. Your eye stops. It's just like a bump in the road. So, no flats. That's it. Put about an hour on this thing. Had to fix my my hollowing tool. You don't want to go there. Okay. I've done what I needed to do. I took all this off there. Yeah, I'm Captain Eddie Castellan. I've been making shavings. Ain't that sweet? Be safe.